Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. So I know your heart is true. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Proof of Love. I'm all alone with this scary Scorpio man today on the show. I am joined by the one, the only, Peter McCormack from What Bitcoin Did and many other wild projects, including fighting with people on Tinder. Well, Twitter. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. I don't know what's been going on in his love life. And that's what we're going to get. We're going to get a male perspective today. Lauren couldn't join us today. Stephanie is still on hiatus, enjoying her love life in New Hampshire and hiding from the Corones. But I'm here with Peter McCormack from the crypto space and our male representative to tell us all of his sorry stories and to hopefully lure in the ladies in the future. That's what I think is his thing, because he was very excited about coming onto this show. So he must have some kind of story to tell. I'm excited to hear it. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining us on the Proof of Love.
Thank you for having me on. I didn't know I was very excited. I think you asked me in Latvia, didn't you, to do it?
No, I have very few male friends that have asked me about being on Proof of Love, except for you. I feel like you've asked me a few different times. We've tried to do it. It didn't work out. But I mentioned it on Twitter, and you were the first person to respond. You don't respond to my other Twitter messages.
Well, I don't know. I thought you asked me to come on in Latvia, and then I've been like, we're going to do this.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have you on. Don't get me wrong. But you were, okay, fine. We're dropping this topic. We're going to ask you, what makes your heart beat in the morning? What's going on with your love life? Are you going to tell us?
There's nothing.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I have a very dead love life right now.
Okay. Why? Because of Corona? Are you dating during coronavirus? Are you going onto the apps? Like, what's your strategy?
It's very difficult because single father status, and my son lives with me full time. My daughter's 50-50. They do have the same mother, but he doesn't go to his mother's. So it's going on dates is kind of difficult because I don't like to leave him too much on his own. I can do, but
he's older, isn't he?
Yeah, I can leave it. He's 16. I can do that, but I guess I just haven't been. I mean, I've had a little flick on Tinder, but it's not so good in Bedford. Tinder's quite good in Bedford.
Okay, so what got you into the crypto space? Tell me a little bit about that. We'll warm it up with that because, you've been kind of doing a lot of different interviews for a while. You took this space by storm. What got you interested in cryptocurrency? Because you weren't always an Austrian economics enthusiast. I think that's kind of grown on you a little bit.
Yeah, that's for sure. I got a phone call from my buddy one day back in 2013, and he said, Pete, there's this website where you can buy cocaine online. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's called the Silk Road. I was like, what? He said, yeah, you can buy cocaine online and you have to use this thing called Bitcoin. I was like, what the hell is that? He said, it's like this online money. And he said, the best thing is that all the dealers are reviewed, so you only get good stuff. You don't get bad stuff. So I was like, at the time I was working in advertising, so I used to do a lot of cocaine. I don't anymore. I haven't done it for about 6 years, but I used to do a lot. And it was brilliant. Loved it. I thought the Silk Road was the greatest invention in modern time. I think it was more important than the light bulb and the
Why? Wheel. Why? So you could do cocaine easily in your house? That's a bold statement. The light bulb?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding with you. But yeah, so that's how I discovered Bitcoin, and but I didn't really do anything with it. It was just like a facilitator for the Silk Road, and then my life collapsed over the following year, and Bitcoin just went out the window, and then in 2016, back into 2016, obviously, my mother got very sick, and we wanted to get her cannabis oil, and I was like, said to my dad, remember that cocaine problem I had? Well, it's the same website. We need to get some Bitcoin and we can, I mean, the Silk Road wasn't there then, but I think it was Sheep Marketplace or something. So we went on, we bought a Bitcoin on Coinbase, we bought the cannabis oil, and that was December 16. And I think about 9 months later, I set up a podcast.
Are you supposed to use Bitcoin purchased on Coinbase to buy illegal drugs? I think that's not the way you're supposed to do it. I
mean, I did back then.
Okay. So I'm like, I think I got the memo that that's not the way. So I'm glad that you didn't get in trouble. This is a bold claim that you're making here on the air. These are just anecdotal stories.
It happened. I think I don't see it as buying drugs. I see it as buying a medical treatment for the cancer. So I don't feel bad about what I did there. Actually, I don't feel bad about anything I did where I've not hurt somebody. But yeah, so that's how I kind of discovered it, and then went down the rabbit hole like we all do, and did a bit of shitcoining, a bit of trading, made and lost money, set up the podcast, and then here we are, 3 years, coming up to nearly 3 years later, and it's been a wild ride, and not at all how I thought my life would pan out.
So how have you managed to do all that traveling? Because I know that your kids are very important to you. You have them around a lot. What's the way of balancing that travel?
Yeah, so that's where it gets super complicated. So I used to have the kids 50-50 with my ex-wife, and I would just travel on the week I didn't have the kids. So I would fly to New York, LA, do what I did, and then come back, do the week on, week off. Then my ex-wife ended up moving in with the guy she had an affair with, and my son asked to come and live with me, which was cool, fine. So he came to live with me. But I still need to travel for work. So then I get in this really weird scenario whereby, because I pay the kids' school fees and medical and all that stuff, I just said to my ex-wife, I have to work, and my son wouldn't go to her house. So we came to this compromise where she would come and stay in my house and look after the children while I was away. And then I would come back and she would leave. We would time it so we didn't see each other, which suited me. And what was quite good about that is the kids ended up having one house, which I quite liked, and me and her just swapped, which in some ways is really how it should be. It shouldn't be the kids packing their stuff up every week and going between places. It should be the parents. They're the ones who fucked it up.
That's true.
But now we're in lockdown situations, so there's no trouble right now.
How did you explain to your children the infidelity? Was that something that you guys talked about? I mean, it must be very difficult to do without being like, mommy's a slut, like in a very, because you're very angry about that. I don't mean to say that, but kind of,
fine. Kind of. So it was at different times they got told different things. So when we separated, my son was 9, and we'd only been married for 3 months when I found out, obviously, that for people who are listening, if they care, she was having an affair with my best friend while we were getting married. And I found out 3 months in, so that essentially ends that, because you're saying your vows while you're having an affair. That's obviously loses all meaning. So it ended straight away. So I spoke to her and I said, look, we can't separate after 3 months and just say, Mummy and Daddy don't love each other, because that's stupid. And also they'll find out eventually. So I spoke to a psychiatrist, and they said the best thing is to give them the truth, but in child-sensitive ways. So my daughter was easy. She was 3. We didn't really have to say much. But my son, it was just like, actually, she told him first. She just said Mummy had met somebody else. And, she tried to explain it in a way that she loved 2 men, I think. And that didn't work out for Daddy, so we were separated. I mean, we're talking nearly 7 years ago, so it's really actually hard to remember the details. They know now that she's what she did and etc. And both of them, and I think as they get older, they'll probably understand it a bit more. It's very hard to understand. Like, you and I know that's a terrible thing to do to somebody, but I think they will. When they get older and go into relationships, they'll be able to reflect on that and go, oh, shit, that's what that meant.
Mm-hmm. So have you tried dating other people? Do you have trust issues now because of that? Do you think that you've worked through it? Did you go to therapy?
Did therapy? Didn't really work for me. Therapy wasn't very good.
Why? Why is that not? I'm curious because I feel like men are maybe more averse to therapy. That's why I'm asking. And so you can easily say, oh, it doesn't work for me because that's the manly way. But what was it that you didn't like about it versus things that maybe worked for you later on?
I did it a bunch of times, and every time I left, I didn't feel any different. I thought I'm not getting anything from this. And then what I did is I quit my job. I had a company in London. I quit my job, started running every day, and decided I'm going to focus on just doing something new. And that was helpful for me, and kind of manifest it. Like, it's very difficult when you live in this very small town. And like, I saw the guy yesterday, like at the local shop, and I just manifested a life whereby I wouldn't be around so much, which it feels like coronavirus to say, no, you didn't deal with this shit, Pete. We're going to make you. But I just never got anything out of it. I didn't even know what I wanted to get out of it. I was going to talk to somebody and then I'd leave, and I was like, I'd rather go for a run. I'd go for a run and I'd feel great afterwards. Feel energized, feel really good. I'd go to counseling, come back and just feel like the same or worse. Because I don't want to talk about this shit.
All right. Well, what about, this is, I guess, a little bit more of a broad question, but what about talking to your guy friends? Like, when women, we go through a breakup, there's a lot of wine and a lot of chocolate and a lot of blah, 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 a lot of that. But I get the impression, especially as men get older, they don't. I mean, I have guy friends, and apparently they don't ask each other for advice about the girl that they're dating. And I'm shocked by this. Do you feel that that's something that you've noticed among men? Would you say that it's more in England versus, other countries? Do you think that men talk about stuff like that?
I think there's definitely a difference between British men and American men. I think, not to say that this doesn't happen in both countries, but there is this much more of a bro culture in the US. Tough guys, blah, blah, blah. We don't tend to have that as much. We've got it, but not as much. No, my friends will talk about it. I'll go down the pub and they'll be like, I'd happily say I met this girl and she's XYZ, and we're probably less sensitive about it, and we probably try and wind each other up a little bit about it. But I can easily phone up a friend and say, look, I've got this situation, and they'll talk about it. I think there's certainly a difference between US and British guys with something like that.
So what are you looking for right now? Like, when you're, and would you say, because sometimes we were just listing all the things that women want. We have a very long list, and I think women have a pretty similar list. When you're a guy and you're thinking about a woman, are you just thinking boobs? Are you thinking personality? Is it different for each? Are there any trends that you see that are turnoffs? Apparently, there's a lot of women that have very fake looking pictures. I've had some guys complain about that. I don't know if that's true. What do you think? What's the deal?
I'm not too much into the eyebrow trend that came over the last couple of years.
What's the eyebrow trend?
Like big, weird, fucked up eyebrows, or like rip them out and tattoo them. I always thought that was a bit fucked up. What went on here?
Some people, they don't grow eyebrows.
No, but maybe it's a British thing. Like, they have them ripped out and then they just tattoo them on. And it was just like, what the fuck? I never thought that was cool. I don't know. I always like a girl covered in tattoos.
Okay, ladies who are listening, I'm basically trying to help out. There's not that many hot eligible bachelors in the crypto space, in the tech world. Come on, give them something to aspire to. What else? Kindness, is that important to you? Do you care if a chick likes crypto? What about her politics?
Honestly, Queen Tatiana, I can't give you a list because I could tell you, like, on paper, what I think is, somebody I'd really like, and I've been on dates with girls like that, and there's nothing there. I don't think it's possible to. I think you can put on paper the kind of person you want to have sex with, because that's pretty much what. If you're going to watch porn, you're just gonna go for what you watch on porn, right? Yeah, I want a blonde, or I want a brunette, I want to go with big tits, like whatever it is. If you just want to have sex with somebody, you have a type. But if you want to be in a relationship with somebody, I don't know. My ex-wife, I was madly in love with, but she would not be my normal type. So I think that's a very difficult thing. I think you just either meet somebody and that sparky thing happens, or it doesn't. Is that fair?
Are you attributing the type to the physicality? Because I was looking more for character traits. Is that important?
Everything.
Okay, so you're saying across the board.
Yeah, I just think you either click or you don't. There's something that happens or it doesn't. Obviously, I don't want to date a racist or a psychopathic killer. I don't really want to date some crazy left-wing moron. But, I just think it's very hard to list some things. Like I like
list 20 things right now.
Yeah, but okay. So for example, I like heavy metal, right? Wouldn't it be awesome if they loved heavy metal and we could go and watch like Guns N' Roses and that together? But my ex-wife wasn't into that, and that didn't bother me at all. So like, I don't
think heavy metal is Guns N' Roses, for the record.
Well, okay. I mean, I was just going to say
more Metallica. I feel like is heavy metal.
Yeah, or Pantera, but
because I hate heavy metal, but I love me some Guns N' Roses.
Well, you're not listening to the right heavy metal. I think just it either works or it doesn't. I can tell you what I don't want. I don't want anyone who wants a child right now. I'm like 8 years away from getting rid of the second one. Yeah, and that's.
I had this very weird picture. Like, how are you getting rid of them? But you mean they're just going to get out of the house?
It's just going to go. They're going to go to university.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I've been watching Ozark, so now I'm just very paranoid about, disappearing people.
Yeah. No. Just go to college. Just go away. Leave me alone. I don't know. But yeah, I think the world of dating. Let me tell you what I think. Can I tell you what I think? I've got a take, and I think you might like this. And I think some dudes will call me like a snowflake or something. I think the apps have ruined it for everyone.
100%. The apps made everybody's lives much worse.
No, do you know what it did? It flipped the control over to the men. And let me explain it. Let me explain it to you.
Okay, I'm open.
So previously, before the apps, the only way you tend to meet somebody is at work or in a bar, right? Generally speaking. And you would have to go up, you see a girl you fancy, you have to go up and talk to her, and you would be crapping your pants because it's usually the guy who makes the move, and then hopefully she wouldn't just dismiss you, and then she might talk to you. She might even kiss you, right? And it's like, holy shit. And then you go on a date with her, and if you were like super lucky, she would sleep with you, and then you think, well, I don't want to let this go because I never know when I'll have sex again. So you actually get to know someone. And like the guy had to make a lot of effort. What the apps did, they just made it too easy. I don't have to shit myself. I can just swipe. All right, cool. They like me. Great, we've matched. Right, I can talk to them. I can be a bit punchy. I'm getting away with this. So it just made it too easy for us guys. And now what happens is, and that isn't me, but like I bet there are guys who are on a date and they go to the toilet and then they're swiping while they're in the toilet and they've got the next one lined up and the next one lined up. And I just think it's the power's changed, and it's given the power to the irresponsible morons in this side, which is the men. And actually, I noticed a bit of a pattern, which I think is quite sad, in that when I was dating, it's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of, maybe it's just my age, but quite a lot of girls who are single, late 30s, very quickly they want to know, will you get married again, and will you have any more children? And they're on a clock. And there's a lot of guys who just don't want that because dating has become like everything else. It's like Uber. I don't need to own a car. I can just get one when I need it. I don't need to have a girlfriend. I can just get a date when I need it. It's ruined it.
So depressing.
Yeah, but I'm right.
It's true. 100%.
Am I right?
100%. No doubt. At first I made the face because I'm always swiping left, and then I always get these blow ups of, dudes that want to date me, and that's very nice and stuff, but they're never really guys that I want to date. But you're right. A guy doesn't have to put in the effort. He's got another girl on lock. And also, looks versus personality. You can't tell somebody's personality. Some people photograph really well. Some people, you don't like them because they misspell I. People do weird things in those kinds of things where you can be really, really judgy. This guy I know, we've always had the best chemistry out of anybody I've had in my life. And I would never have swiped right on him. And I think about that sometimes when I'm on those stupid, depressing apps. I think that the whole thing is very, very demoralizing. And we talk about it a lot. And I don't know, I started trolling people a little bit on there now. Just making kind of jokes of what I think that is the inverse. Because the guys, they have the pictures where they're all next to a tiger. Then they've got, themselves shirtless. Okay, wait, do you want to see because I feel like I don't really need to see a guy in his bathing suit in these. And I think that's kind of tacky. Do you want to see that in a profile, assuming that you're swiping?
No, it's not important.
Would you think that it was tacky? I feel like it's a little too forward. It's very meat markety, right?
It just depends how it's done. I mean, I think a lot of people show a lot of different situations. I'm just not bothered either way. If it's pouting and pushing your boobs together, like if that's tacky, yeah, you can do that. That's tacky. But I think if you're on the beach with your buddies, that doesn't bother me.
Okay. What about astrology? Do you care about that? I mean, I kind of teased you about the Scorpio stuff, but do you ever check a chick's sign?
Literally never. because it's made up nonsense.
If a woman was into it, I have a friend who's working with this astrology dating thing, and I've been thinking about it for a few days now. And I don't think I could take a man seriously that believes in astrology. Yeah. I would think that he was a little, I want my man to be really logical. I can go into that realm, but I'm not so sure he needs to. But I think that's a little bit sexist of me.
Dude, listen, if she's onto astrology and I really liked her, I would just go on Google and just keep going through all the different astrology websites till I find the one that says we're perfect, because there will be one. And I go, look what I found. Oh my God, we're perfect. Like, it's bollocks. I don't believe in that stuff.
That's what every female that believes in astrology ever has done. And if it says that it's wrong, yeah, you're right. That's a very astute observation. Okay. Do you read the profile? I think that the profile is extremely important. A guy could be gorgeous. If his profile sucks, he's out of there. And I always read the profile 98% of the time. Do you?
I didn't have one for a long time. I didn't even have one for a long time.
I'm talking about the woman's profile.
Well, no, I was going to say.
Oh, you mean you are one of the weirdos that has nothing? I think those are the psycho killers.
Well, so I put one in. I put one in after people said that you need to, like, people moaning. I don't care about the profile. I will read it, but if it's really funny, that blows my mind. Like, like when you find someone who's just really fucking, like, I read one the other day that was like funny, like self-deprecating, but in a really funny way. What did she say? Something like, I can't remember. It was just hilarious, and that made me find her a little bit more attractive.
Yeah, I think humor goes over really well for everybody. Do you think that certain accents are more attractive? Like in America, women think, oh, an English accent is so great. And then I made out with this English guy once, and it was so terrible that it ruined the accent for me for 5 years. Do you think that that's of interest? Some people tell me that they like mine, and I think it's just like super Jersey, so I can't imagine why that would be exciting. Do you think
nobody likes our own voice? You know that as a podcaster, as I do. It's like listening back to your own show. It's like, oh God, I hate that. I hate my voice. How does anyone hear that? Listen to that. I sound like a moron. No one likes that.
But the accent.
But I don't know. I mean, a French accent is obviously very nice, but no, it just doesn't. It's not important to me. No.
I feel like you're giving me these answers that you read in advance and said, "What do women want to know?" Oh, yeah, no, I don't care about looks. Definitely not important to me.
I care about looks. Of course, I care about looks.
I'm just teasing you. Okay, so let's talk about porn.
Let's talk about porn.
All right. You interviewed a porn star, right?
I've interviewed 2 porn stars and a director, and I've got another director coming up.
What did you learn, and why so many? It is an interesting. I would probably want to introduce some people from that industry, but what is it that attracted you to that?
I like doing things. Well, yeah. Well, so no, but I like doing things that piss people off. And one of the things about porn is 98% of men, I think it's 98% of men and 73% of women watch porn, right? So let's just basically admit it, that everyone is pretty much watching porn. And so if everyone's watching porn, why is it so taboo? And it's obviously, we know why, but the problem is the taboo side of it causes problems. So, for example, porn stars themselves have trouble maybe taking out rentals because of the career they're involved in. Sometimes they have to lie about their job because they won't be able to rent a property, or they'll be asked for more months in advance or down payments when they're doing what is a legal job, or they maybe can't get a bank account. And all those things, their lives are being made harder by doing a job which is legal, which everybody wants, okay? And then secondary, the industry itself is thankfully having its kind of Me Too moment, but actually it's a very dangerous industry for especially young women, where you've got abusive directors or abusive agents who will put people in difficult or dangerous situations. And I just think, like, if we're all watching it, we owe a duty to care. We owe as much a duty of care to a porn actress as we do to a victim of Harvey Weinstein. These people are going to work to provide a form of entertainment that we watch on screen. They deserve the same amount of respect. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to admit I watch porn, even though everyone does and no one wants to. I'm going to admit it. And then I'm going to go on and do these interviews, and they're really, really embarrassing. I get put in situations that make me really embarrassed. but I also just find it a fascinating industry. But I think it's something that needs talking about more, especially like weird things like, we look at the whole Epstein situation. He was, horribly abusive person, and some of the people he was abusive towards were 17. Yet a year later, these same young girls can go to LA and have 2 dicks put in their ass. And
I don't think that that's so great either. I mean, I guess
that's what I mean. My point is that it isn't great, but we have this real duty of care that, like, if they're 17 and it's suddenly abusive, yet a year later they can get in the most awful situation. And I think that stuff needs talking about and thinking about, because I don't think that's a great situation that happens.
But what about their responsibility in terms of choosing that career versus something else? I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird topic. The whole thing, there's so many things to unpack, right? Because the women, some of them are getting abused. Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff going on. The desensitization of people watching it, children being exposed to it. I have a lot of, understanding, and like I've learned about the importance of not making these things illegal, because then you exacerbate the problem. And I think that that's what you're trying to kind of speak to. I want to unpack some of those other things, but can you give me some more examples of how, obviously cryptocurrency is very helpful because it helps with these not nascent industries, these kind of underground industries having financial services. But did you learn anything else from the safety side? Morality taken out of it?
Well, no. So, for example, now, like, I have openly, and despite the fact that he hates it, talked to my son about pornography and told him what it is and what it isn't, and been very clear to him that this is not real life and that he should avoid it for now. But if he does, like drugs, I want to know about it, and I'm not going to embarrass him, but I just want to, set some certain standards in place. I don't want him, because the thing is, the first sexual experience some of these young people are going to have is going to be after all they've ever seen is porn. And when I was a kid, porn was like a magazine with some tits and ass in it. Now they can go on and see anything, like literally the most hardcore crazy shit.
I know there's some really horrible things out there, and it's really, they have a lot of it now on the main pages in the US. They have all of these weird family ones just front and center on the main page. And it freaks me out, because when did that become hot? Like, no family ever. That to me is just put that on a bad, like a hidden kink side of the site. It's not, let's keep the beginning with, some lesbians, some whatever, standard fare. I think the family should be for, advanced users. And frankly, I'm not a fan of that. So
No.
I mean, do you think that has any effect? You talking to him? Is he going to say, well, I was going to watch this really intense one, but my dad told me it'll make my dick not work so well, so I'm not going to watch it. I mean, how does that even implement itself? Or is it just an open communication?
It's open communication, just saying, look, the only thing I want him to get across to him is that when he finally crosses the boundary from virtual to the real world, that it's going to be very different. And, it's going to be maybe potentially scary for the person he's with. He's going to be very respectful, and it's not going to be like the films he's seen. They're not going to be throwing him around the room. It's going to be a very probably strange experience for the both of you, and you just need to be very careful in that situation. I think there's a film. Have you seen this film, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always?
No.
It's a film that's come out recently.
Check it out.
It's it's probably the best film I've seen this year. And it's about a young girl who has an abortion, and but it deals with some very sensitive issues related to kind of sexual abuse, but also being a young woman, which I think is really interesting, where it gives you the perspective of being a young girl. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm trying to do with my son is just prepare him for that there's another person on the side of this, and these experiences you're going to go through. You've got to respect that there's somebody else on the other side of this. So it's just, like I say, open communication. And
is that enough?
I don't know, but it's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. Like, would you, if you could ban him from watching it in the house, would you do it?
If I could ban him from watching fisting and double anal, yes. If he ends up discovering lesbian porn, do I care? Okay, 16 years old. I mean, he's going to find a way around it anyway. So okay. I just don't want the horrible, brutal, crazy.
But it all ends up there, right?
Yeah, I mean look, everyone has their kinks, and but I think you have to go on a journey to find your way there.
Do we need to have those kinks though? Like, I mean, does anybody need to? Right. I don't know. I don't think that I think that these things are creating those proclivities. And some of them I don't think are great, like choking a woman. It's probably not a great thing to be, for example, like I wrote this down as a note. Did you have the plan to have the conversation with your daughter? Because I think that for a guy, I think that was I applaud you for having that conversation with your son. But I think that with a daughter, that's even more weird, because for a guy, you're teaching them, okay, well, not all chicks want you to spit on them or whatever creepy stuff that's in the video. But for a woman, I mean, it's a whole psychological thing that's, I think, a lot more deep. And nor is, you're not going to be able to stop them from doing it. But would you say that there's any difference from how you would have that conversation with your daughter?
Yes, there is. I would defer most of it to her mother.
What if the mom can't do it? Why? You know what I mean? What if the mom isn't responsible?
I think with a girl, I think the most important thing is empower her to feel like she can say no in any situation she wants to. I think that's probably the priority. Mm-hmm. I know we're meant to live in this world now where everything about men and women are equal, but they're not. Dudes are going to be the ones pushing to have sex first, and they're going to be applying a certain amount of pressure onto girls. And I just would like to empower her. But she's a fucking badass anyway. No one's gonna fuck with her.
Oh, I know a lot of badass women who are not always so badass with guys. I think it's it's certainly important, but I think that the messages there are really conflicting, right? I had a friend of mine, Carrie Wedler. She gave a talk once, and she was talking about how women, have these, you have to be empowered, but every image of empowerment are them being highly sexualized, and then you don't have to say yes, but all of your power is derived from that sexuality. So I would think even more broadly outside of the porn spectrum, it would be particularly difficult as a father to be kind of trying to give your daughter the right messages with the onslaught of what's going on. So I'll ask you again, is there even a way that you can keep some of that bad influence from your children?
The children will always find the stuff you don't want them to see. That's just one of those things you learn as a parent. They're just going to find stuff you don't want them to see. I think the easiest way to put it is that trying to develop as much as an open dialogue with your children as possible. That from my side, anyone can do what the fuck they want with theirs, but mine, I've tried to have as much of an open dialogue as they can. They can talk to me about anything, like the drug thing. There's never a, you must not do drugs. It's, especially with my son, he's 16. It's like, I don't want you to. I don't think you should. Our rule is this. If you ever get in a situation you feel like you want to, you call me first and we'll talk about it. And then we'll have the conversation. Ultimately, it'll be your decision. Me saying you can still do it, even if I said no. Because I did. My parents don't take drugs. I still took a fuckload of drugs. So I just want to know, and I'm going to want to try and convince you not to. But I'm going to want to know if you are. And it's just those kinds of conversations. So you can have an open, just like them to feel like they can talk to you about anything. At the same time, they don't want to talk to you about this shit because it's embarrassing. But you can only do your best.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm drawing a blank. I feel like those are very good answers. I'm trying to think of what else I want to ask you about. And I was thinking to myself, this episode was supposed to be all juicy. And it's been all serious. I wanted some juice. I wanted some, male perspective. Any kind of tips you want to give the ladies out there? I don't know. Something. All the guys are listening to this show. They're only hearing our list of demands. I want to hear the man's list of demands. What do you think women are losing now that you wish was still around? Or do you think that there are benefits or, negative things that happen from feminism that you think that could maybe use some improvement?
Well, look, I think everyone should do what the fuck they want. And it's hard to give tips, like universal tips for everyone. You got different types of women, right? But
is that true? So that's the thing. Like, do women all want the same guy and men are just more tolerant through it all?
I would say one thing, on a personal perspective, that you might not realize, I think guys wrestle with some guys wrestle with a lot of the same issues as women. Mm-hmm. Do I look shit in this? Am I fat? Do I look like my pictures? Are they going to like me? Like, I think just guys, some guys just won't admit that because they're tough and they're alpha male and they're not snowflakes. I think a lot of people do wrestle with the same issues. There's a lot. I think these days there's a lot more pressure than there used to be on guys to be buff and work out and have a good job and dress well, and speak 7 languages and blah blah blah. That don't feel used to exist. But in terms of advice to women, I don't know. It's like, who am I to give advice to a woman? I had a 3-month marriage and I've been single for 7 years. It's not like I'm like this roaring success of dating. I'm pretty much a failure on the dating front.
Yes, fair enough. Okay, so you bring up men's vanity. I think that's interesting. I never think of men being insecure in that way. And we're all getting older. Would you ever get injections? No. Never? Not even injections? No facelift?
That's one thing. I don't. So that's an interesting one. I don't like. I prefer a girl who hasn't had anything done. Yeah, I prefer that. And actually, I like a girl. Do you know what I really like? This is going to sound like I'm a weirdo. I like a girl in her photos who looks like she maybe hasn't got any makeup on. So you just see the real thing. I think that's always kind of nice. Maybe that's my age. I think maybe you get to over 40. You're like,
so
something a bit more real.
So this is a running joke with women. When men say that they want a woman that doesn't wear makeup, it's a total joke because they want a woman that wears natural looking makeup because they always choose the girl that has makeup, but I don't think that they really know that it's makeup as much. For the au natural look.
Maybe that's it. But like the whole when you see a girl who's got maybe just not all right, no, I'll answer a different way. You can see somebody who's really overly thought about every fucking one of her pictures and got done up for it and like pouted, and here's the one where I'm riding a horse, jumping a hedge, and here's the one where I'm shooting a gun, and then this is the one where I'm in an expensive bar in a cocktail dress, and it's just tick, 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 tick. It's all the same. And then you just see somebody just like being themselves, and that's. But I'm 41, and I'm, maybe I have a different. Maybe the other thing, it fucks up once you get over 40, when you get to 41, everything changes because I think people set their age range on even numbers. They go, I will date 30 to 40.
The 41-year-olds are screwed. They're just going to be stuck with the 50-year-olds. And nobody wants to be with the 50-year-olds, definitely not 51. The 51-year-olds are experiencing this as well.
And with all the old ladies.
So we came up with a conclusion. I've been watching Indian Matchmaker, and I'm going to do a episode on that.
What's the Indian Matchmaker?
It's very important. Clearly, you are missing out on some of the critical television out there. It's just Indian people getting match made for marriages by like an Indian lady. And they consult the astrological chart and numerology and all this fun stuff. I don't know. It's cool. But my point is that I'm thinking about a matchmaker. Because when I'm on the sites, I get really depressed because I think about all the sad, lonely people and then about my sad loneliness and everybody's like, hideousness. I'm like, holy crap, I can't have sex with any of these people. I'm doomed. So it gets really, to be terrible. So I'm thinking a matchmaking site. And I've heard that women get in free. So I'm doing some market research. Have you ever thought about going to a matchmaker or you just don't care? You're just calling it in?
No, I that's never crossed my mind. I've never thought of using a matchmaking service. I used to enjoy my international playboy lifestyle of just traveling around the world, meeting girls while I was traveling. But now I need to really settle down and find someone where I live. So perhaps I should consider. Do you think I should?
I don't know. Maybe. I'll give you the reviews. I'll let you know which one is the most selective. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do it on the show. Why? Do you want to try? You want to be on the show and have matches made for you?
I'm not sure. Listen,
should we have ladies applying? Hey, ladies, if you're listening and you think that Peter sounds like a nice guy, his DMs are open.
It's like the Bachelor with a 5 out of 10 guy. Fuck that. Tell me something, like, because I don't really listen to Proof of Love.
Oh, that's your mistake. I can't help you there.
No. What's the general trends? What's going on? What are the ladies all pissed off about?
Oh, there's a long laundry list of criticism. It just seems like a lot of guys are not really interested in commitment at all, which is, the lifelong complaint. But on a new level, I find that there'll be guys that get really, really, really hot, and then they get very scared, and then they run away. And it's really strange because they set the pace really, really intently, and then you just try and keep suit. You're not being a psycho stalker, and then they just flip out. So I think there's a lot of emotionally damaged men out there, and they're not very self-aware. I think, grooming.
A lot of narcissism.
Oh, well, obviously. That's what everybody is. But, so narcissism, I think a lot of men would say that there's a lot of female narcissists. Every woman I know, the narcissists are who's left, unless you get married by the time you're 25. Just all the, the weirdos are kind of...
Where are the narcissists? The leftover narcissists.
Yes, that's where they are, repeat dating and stuff. But I mean, look at Instagram, look at all of our lives. All we do is just whinge about things on Twitter or on Facebook and just post pictures of our stupid cooking. And I don't know, I feel a ton of pressure, especially, as a musician or whatever, to constantly be like, oh, look at me. I got pictures with all this makeup, and I don't wear like a ton of makeup usually, so I'll go natural, but I feel like I have to airbrush it or something, and it's a real drag. But I mean, are you surprised that people are being narcissistic? I think the people on the apps are probably going to be primo narcissismo over there.
Well, there's been narcissistic, and then there's actual narcissists, and I think it's two different things.
So where are you distinguishing it? Sure, but I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of narcissists. even not just people with narcissistic traits, just narcissists. I know a lot of women that keep dating them, and nice girls that are cool. I mean, look, all women are a little crazy. Everybody's a little crazy. Men could be crazy. You could drive each other crazy. But I know a ton of aces women, very beautiful, fit, really sweet, kind people, good job. And it's just like a wasteland out there.
Hook me up.
You live in London. I don't know any ladies all the way over there. We've got to come to the U.S. tour. Well, but they're not going to let us leave. And also, can you even have international love right now? Not really. No. What do you do if you're in love with somebody? Like, I don't know. I have friends in Canada. It used to be just a short ride over the border, and now I can't go there until next year.
You have to get to know people.
What?
You can spend some time getting to know somebody.
Okay, so that was my original theory. I thought that would be the result of Bumble, that people would maybe step it up. But I have not seen that. That's what, no, I'm going with I'm doing the matchmaker. I don't care. My birthday's coming up. Happy birthday to me. Let's get some dudes.
All Bumble is the exact same people on Tinder, just the girl has to send the first message. It's exactly the same. I think they need to, someone needs to think of a new way of doing it. I want video, for example, dating. With that would help. But I think they should do a thing where you can, the women can review the guys. Yeah, he sent me a picture of his dick. We went on a date and he just tried to fuck me.
Correct. I've loved this idea. Reviews.
The Silk Road effect, right? She wanted a baby. She said, "Can I have a baby straight away?"
Wait, out of curiosity, why is that so terrible that women are thinking about babies? Shouldn't men also be thinking about that? I mean, they got to deal with it at some point.
No, but let's find the women who. It's just very unusual.
Let's get a drink first, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's very unusual. I've had it within 20 minutes of a date, so I just need to know: would you get married again, and would you have more children? It's no and no. I would never get married again. Do
they get up and leave?
No, and then you finish the day, blah blah blah. But I just think it would be useful to know. But surely there are guys who do want to have babies. But mainly, I just think the Silk Road review system fixed a massive problem in the supply of drugs. I think a dating review system might fix a problem in the supply of people.
Okay, so one of the problems there is, what about, sour grapes? For example, the typical thing that happens is a guy hits on a girl and then she's like, no. And then he says, she's a slut. She's ugly anyway. You know what I mean? This is a very, very common thing that men do. Women, I think, might have slightly better review systems, but we have our own weird expectations. One woman wants the door, the other one doesn't. I don't know who's the doesn't, but she's making the wrong decision. But the point is that there's a variance in terms of the reviewability. But you can get reputable reviewers, but eventually they're going to be out of the market if they are in a relationship. So there's only so much shelf life. Because if you're only dating forever, are your reviews really worthwhile?
It's maybe like the LinkedIn problem. You never trust reviews on LinkedIn because no one wants to leave someone a bad review. And maybe it'd be like the opposite with it. I don't know. I just think I don't think it's helpful to have. Okay, let me have a look. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen who are listening to this, he's looking at his phone. He's going to show us one of these ladies.
Look, 4,521 likes, right?
Mm-hmm. What app is that? I don't know what that is.
Tinder.
Oh, you have the professional grade that tells you the people that like you in advance or something?
Yeah, because it just saves the effort. It's just find out. But who needs to know? You need 2 or 3. I think maybe you should have 2 or 3, and if you want a new one, you have to sub one out or something. So you just have, or you can't. You get one a week. You have to just make an effort to get to know someone. That's what I don't know.
I don't know, man, because here's the thing.
What do you think?
You're bringing up a good point. So, okay, I have a wonderful eye for hot guys. I pride myself on this eagle-like ability when walking into a room to laser in on men that I think are attractive.
I imagine you have a very good taste in men.
Thank you. I try very hard. Anyway, so, I laser in, and let's say I go to camp, right? You go to camp or you go on a cruise. The first day you're looking around, you're like, oh man, all these people are ugly. By day 3, there's a couple contenders. because now you're narrowing your scope, and you've got a smaller pool, and so you got to be a little bit more realistic, and your eyeballs really will adjust and find that person more attractive. So I think that that's true, but like there's some kind of various ones. I don't know. One of them is they only give you 3 people a day, and all 3 people are bad. And so I just stopped using the app. So I don't know if that works out as well. Like, I have a very, very particular type of guy that I like, that I'm looking for. I wish I could just say, like, tall, skinny white guy with brown hair and blue eyes. Like, anybody that's not in that category can just go, because they're always going to go. They're not going to be in that category. Maybe eye color can vary, slight hair color variation, but pretty much that's the box, So it is disheartening.
Then you need a matchmaking service. You need to get a professional and say, this is one. And is there another thing?
It's not going to be fun. I think it's going to be slightly embarrassing, but I think it'll be good content. And I mean, what all do I have to lose? I'm literally not dating anybody. I have not dated anybody. I mean, I go out on 2 dates a year, so it's not like there's a whole plethora. I need somebody to just be bringing in the troops for review or whatever it is.
Is there a part of this that perhaps is that just the nature of relationships have changed as the world has changed? Like, perhaps when our parents were younger, like you're in your 20, 22, you meet a girl, you get married, you have kids, you're together. We do live in this very transient life now. Like a mobile phone is a consumable now. Yeah, broke my phone, I'll go and get another one. I'll get an Uber because I don't need a car. Like, I can get anything I want like that. As we said earlier, is that what relationships are now? Are they just more transient? Should we just accept that? And that is what it is.
I think the young people are getting the love beaten out of them, but will love survive? I mean, because I am a romantic, even though I should just be a cynical, bitter person. And I suppose I am slightly, but I think love and that grand idea is so important. It makes the world go round. Is that a fabrication that I have because I saw some Disney movies when I was little? And is your daughter going to have the same view of the importance of love, what love is? I don't think that you can completely replace it with, an ordering service if you're truly present. But if there's anything that I've learned from lockdown, and it kind of speaks to what you were saying, like we're not present. We're always running around. We're always doing all this stuff. I had a lot of stuff come up for me while I've been on lockdown. Like, holy cannoli, I thought I was dealing with my stuff and I didn't know anything. And
you're not alone.
That's our whole society. We have constant stuff.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people on lockdown have gone through that situation. They're like, shit, I've got to face some stuff. And actually, in fairness, I would say the lockdown made me realize being single sucks. When I was like traveling every 3 weeks, it's cool, whatever. I've gone on a plane, I fly here, fly there, and like life's busy. Stuck at home for months as a single person, it does kind of suck.
No, it's horrible. Well, I'm here by myself. I mean, I'm in, luckily before I was at my mom's and I had the big house. I shouldn't be saying this because psychopaths could show up at my house, but I'm armed so they can F off. Anyway, the point is that, it's super sucky. At least you had your children. It was good because it was so raw and hardcore, but I likened it to, being a phoenix. And it's great when you become the phoenix. But while you're becoming the phoenix, it burns and it hurts and it's not fun and you're turning into ashes. And maybe when people start dating again, they'll be a little bit more human. I think some of the douchebags had it taken down a peg. Yeah.
I think also once they start dating, I think for a little time, a few people might take out of their profile. No one night stands. I think a few people need to get a little release out there.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm slightly more open to those right now. Normally I'd be like, no, I'm looking for my husband, blah, blah. I'm like, oh God, coffee, screw anything. Like, this place is so boring. New Jersey and New York are the worst. Apparently people are going out at night, but if you have to be distant from somebody, like, I'm not going out with a guy who's going to wear a mask around me. Like, F you, bro. Take a risk, If you can't risk life and death to be around me, I don't want to be around you. I feel like the corona made it like I'm anti-mask. I'll be polite, but obviously, you're not trying to make people uncomfortable, but I don't want my man to wear a mask because I think that he's a wuss and I have no respect for him whatsoever. And in a place like New York where everybody's raging leftists, basically there's like 7 people left in the entire city that are of eligible dating age. So I don't know.
We're also in this situation now. You can fuck somebody and get coronavirus and die.
Nah, I'm not going to die. I'm healthy. I'll take my chances. Look, you can go out and drive a car and that has more chances of you dying from driving a car. What I'm saying is that obviously you don't go and make out with people when they got a freaking, tissue attached to their nose and they're sneezing and stuff. But life is full of risk and love is very risky. And it's more, I think the bigger risk is to lose our humanity and our ability to interact with each other. I think that's far, far worse than anything for me. But that means I'm going to be sitting here alone for a long time because nobody else wants my corones.
What have you discovered on this proof of love journey?
I have discovered that I am my favorite person. I think it's very annoying to date people for me because if they're screwing me around, I get very attached and I'm like all crazy and stuff. Like it takes a long thing. It takes a lot of work to get past to that point. But then when I'm in, it's exhausting and it's very dangerous. So I'm not trying to let randos through the gate at all. And I'm just trying to still remain open-hearted while caring for myself and learning more about where those boundaries are. Because I think when you grow up and, I've been dealing with a lot of family stuff, thinking about like abuse and stuff in the household. And when you grow up with that, even if it's just verbal, it really influences your choice. So maybe the forced, quarantine is good from that perspective because it is like, okay, well, you can't just randomly find somebody that'll tickle your fancy for X amount of time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Just Ryan Selkis is with us.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know who was in the back over there, but I'm glad that he's looking over our shoulders and making sure that things are on the up and up in the love world.
He's our chaperone.
Maybe he has some good insights for
happily married man.
Well, that's why he would maybe have some insights. Maybe we shouldn't be asking you. It's like the blind leading the blind.
So are you on all the apps? Are you on Tinder and Bumble?
No, I'm only on Bumble right now. I randomly go on some other ones, but I don't end up on them.
What random other ones?
I don't know. I did Hinge. I did the League. I applied to Raya. They said no because I don't have enough Instagram fans. It's the Illuminati of dating apps. My friend was in it, and Raya, Raya. Why, you want to try and be on it now too?
No, I live in Bedford. I don't think that's going to really work.
Yeah, you're right. There's not going to be like the Hollywood Illuminati party going on over there.
How do you get on there? What are the conditions?
I don't know, but I heard you have to have at least 5,000 Instagram followers. And I stopped playing the social media game a long time ago. I think it's annoying. Yeah. But I have a Kinkster coming up on my next episode of Proof of Love.
What's
and it's in, I don't know, she's a kinky person. You want to come on the show? It's in right now.
Yeah,
otherwise we have to. Okay, cool. So then I'm going to send you to the next, I think that we have a different room for that. I'll send it to you on Twitter right now. So you guys, if you like this episode with me and Peter and you want to hear us talking to this kinky person, I'm so excited you're staying. It's so fun.
I might only have, because I've got to make dinner for the children at some point. So I might have
well, you can come on for the first 15 minutes and ask some questions. Sure. All right, cool. Rock and roll. We'll be back. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time on Proof of Love.
Do you like cryptocurrency, politics, economics, activism, or art? Then check out The Tatiana Show, where you can learn all about it in a fun and non-intimidating way, as if you're just hanging with friends. Go to thetatianashow.com and listen now. Proof of Love has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.
Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love.
Thank you for listening to Proof of Love. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Proof of Lovecast. More episodes can be found at proofoflovecast.com. And make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. You are listening to Proof of Love with Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on Proof of Love is intended as financial advice, legal advice, therapy, or really anything other than entertainment. Please take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're hearing us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on, or of any of the sponsors or affiliate products that you may hear about on the show.